And welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. This week I'm joined in the studio by Aziz Vardar. He is of Albanian origin, but he was born in Belgium and has lived in France for all of his life. Before returning to live in Albania 3 years ago, he has owned some 20 theatres in Paris and has also operated multiple Banksy museums all across Europe. If you don't know who Banksy is, you have to stay tuned and find out. We're going to be talking about his connections to Albania, art and culture in Europe versus Albania, and what Albania has to offer for other entrepreneurs. Aziz, welcome to Inside Albania. It's a pleasure to be joined by you in the studio.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me too.
Now, first things first, your name, Aziz Vardar.
Aziz Vardar, yes.
Now, the surname, you are Albanian by origin.
No, by my mother and by my father, so 100% Albanian.
Yes, but that surname's not very...
No,
I haven't heard it.
I belong to these Albanians that have been deported from ex-Yugoslavia to Turkey in the 50s by the Rankovic years. And like now in Turkey, there are like 5 to 8 million Albanians origins people. And my parents lived there 6 years. And from there, from Turkey, they went to Belgium, where I was born in 68. So a few years ago.
So which part of you, they were taken out of Kosovo or...
Of Macedonia.
From
This was the beginning, I think, the very early ethnical cleaning of ex-Yugoslavia that started in the 50s. Because of the demographic problem, of course. You know, the Albanians love to make kids.
They do.
They do. They love kids. So
everyone tells me, Edeni tune, because I have a daughter.
And so the thing is, if there are these Albanians were still in ex-Yugoslavia will be an Albanian country, probably.
Interesting. But what was the surname before?
Dauti, as I know. Dauti originally from... because the Albanian, we are trackable, you know, we know everything.
Yes.
We are, my ancestor left Dibra 300 years ago to go in the south of Skopje.
Dibra Maz.
Dibra Maz.
Okay.
Oh, you see, you speak Albanian.
So they left from Dibra Maz, but then how did it change to Vardar? Why that name?
Because Vardar is the river of Macedonia. And to remember where we come from, the Turkish just give the name of the area you are from. It's not stupid.
You don't have a choice in the matter.
We didn't choose.
Take this.
I know a guy, he's not funny, he's a French director, he's Albanian origins probably also. His name is Pampuri. It's meaning Albanian from Macedonia, the train. The problem they ask, where are you from? He said, I'm from the train. I come from the train and his name is the train.
Wow, that's, yeah.
The 50s, you know?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Do you ever feel, you know, to change your name back to what the original one is? Or?
No, I think Vardar is very nice. It's the river of Macedonia. That's where we are from. And our ancestor, you know, we are all the same. It's Adam and Eve at the end. So
yes, it's true.
So I can call Aziz Adam or Aziz Eve.
I'm sure there would be quite a few Albanian nationalists who would disagree with you and say, no, Illyrian, you know, we are the oldest civilization.
No, but Illyrian are only 3,000 years old, and now the last discoveries make us like 8,000. So we are very back in the history, probably one of the oldest people of Europe. Interesting, you have to study this.
Yeah. Did you know, so my father's Welsh, and I was curious. Obviously, Welsh is Celtic, and there are similarities in the Albanian language and the Welsh language, which are not found in other languages. So they're only similar between these two languages. They're not Latin root words or Greek. And the Celts, they were in the Balkan Peninsula. They had a few wars with the Illyrians. They were friends in some places, and then they moved through Europe. I found this very interesting.
Probably, yes, but the problem, we are having a concept of nation now, like Albania, Macedonia, Yugoslavia, all the name of country, and we have to see, it's a very new concept.
Yes.
Before it was empire and tribes and clan. So I think we try to connect a language and a people with a country which is completely impossible.
Celtic, it was a tribe. They were a tribe.
The problem, Leibniz, in the German, wrote about this. For him, he said that the Celt and the Dutch are both coming from Albanian language. but the old version probably.
Yeah. And the words that are similar are old words, you know, they're sort of to do with agriculture and the land and sort of things like this. So I found it quite interesting.
If you it's funny we talk about this, but if you draw a line from the Latin world, from the Germanic world, and from the Slavic world, where they are coming from, they all gather in the Balkan.
The center of all civilization.
The European one, probably.
Well, yes.
And of course, they were all coming from Turkey, from Caucasus, and from Africa at the end.
How's your Albanian now?
Unë i flas mirë shumë duke po më kuptohem me gjithë, por jo shumë mirë, pa shumë gabime bëj, po jam 38 gjenerat lindur jashtë.
Well, tre generates.
Tre generates.
Sure. What was it like growing up in Belgium?
How? Excuse me, repeat?
What was it like to grow up in Belgium as part of a family that came from...
Belgium is a fantastic country. As a poor
Apart from
son
the
of
weather.
migrant, except the weather, of course. But as a son of an Albanian migrant, I had the right to go to the best school. And I have to have a very good education, which I cannot offer this in America, probably. So I love Belgium. I have still my... I'm Belgian. I am also Albanian. I have both passports.
Okay.
But I feel like belonging to the both countries.
Yes. And what is it? I mean, what about France? Because then you moved...
France is the... I'm not French. I live in France 20 years, but I'm Parisian. You understand the
different.
concept. You're like being American and New Yorker. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Parisian, you have no nationality anymore. You are from one of the biggest city and the most important city in the world. And Paris is in itself a country already, probably. But they don't give any passports.
No, not a Parisian one. It would be incredibly stylish if they did, you know. Now, I want to talk about your path in life. You work in the arts, but I'll let you take over and talk about this.
My life was totally normal, like a son of migrant working everywhere to try to make some money. And I still have my brother, Ali, which is a very famous French artist now. Let's say French-speaking, because he's Belgo-Albanian also. And he wanted to make shows and plays always. As nobody hired me, I had no value at this moment. I decided to help him to carry his luggage. It was in the 90s. And in fact, as we are Albanian, nobody wanted to rent us a theater or something to organize our shows. Yes, it was very difficult.
They thought you were going to cultivate something in it.
No, they said, why this guy? What kind of play they will do? They don't speak. They had probably an idea of migrant, doesn't know the language, no talent, and this. And it pushed us to build our first theater. And
build, you mean literally
create,
brick by...
No, not build, but not by bricks, but to create the business.
Yes.
It meant to have a first theater, to not ask somebody, can you rent us for an evening, but to manage it for the whole year.
Where was this?
In Brussels. The first one was in Brussels. And of course, when I understood that when you have the whole business, the part of the theater, the part of the producer, and the part of the writer, and at the end, when your brother comes one of the best ticket seller in France, it changed the whole thing.
You have a winning combination.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need anybody else. You're like a two-man show.
Exactly. We are in Paris. We have still now 3 theaters. We had until 8, I think. We have, but we sold them because COVID and everything. We sold them, but we didn't need anyone. And all the theater that I had in my life, totally 22, we all create them.
Wow.
Why pay something that's something you can do yourself?
Well, exactly.
Albanian mentality, and we are very stubborn, you know.
This is really interesting. You know, I find Albanians are very entrepreneurial and very driven and very motivated, but it's about channeling that in the right situation, place, direction, you know?
All the directions are good. Even, you know, this is how he said, Pablo Escobar said this. It was funny, very funny. Even organizing all this traffic needs a job. You have to work a lot. Yeah. So we are very good workers. I think the Albanians are very good workers. We have no other choice. And art is due to my brother. He's an artist. He wanted to write to play. He's a comedian. I didn't want to play, so I decided to do the producer.
Are you talented as an actor, a singer, a dancer?
No, I don't think. Maybe like a director. I directed a lot of plays.
Yes? What kind of plays?
Comedies also. Life should be funny, I think.
It definitely should be. I get that vibe from you as well with humor.
I prefer to love. With Albanian spirit, I think also. Because we prefer to love because life is so dramatic.
Well, yes. Yeah, it's true, especially in Albania. My mum...
Not in Albania. I love Albania. Albanian people are more happy than a lot of countries.
They're happy, but my mum lives in Albania. And she's like, why does everyone shout at each other? And even sometimes if I'm talking to like my partner or something in Albanian, and she's like, what are you fighting about? And I'm like, no, we're
just
talking about
talking.
dinner. Like, because I find even my personality when I speak in Albanian
Change, of course.
tends to be a bit louder and a bit more sort of aggressive.
No, we have the chance. Albania, all the Albanian country, they were oppressed by themselves in Albania and by the others in ex-Yugoslavia. Now we have the chance. We are free. We can manage our life, our destiny. It's a huge moment for Albanian history. It didn't happen, I think, before the Romanian invaded Illyricum 2,000 years ago, probably
Yeah.
more. So we have a big chance.
Yes.
Why should we not be happy?
But what do you think? I mean, Albania is in a difficult situation at the moment. You know, so many people have left.
No, but this, okay, they left, but look me, I'm the third generation and I'm back. They
Well,
don't
yeah,
left forever. They will come back anyway.
Yeah.
They go, they make money, they make business, they succeed, they fail, but they will always come back. And they all remember that they are Albanian. It's very funny. I have a friend in south of Italy. He's Albanian origin like me. When you have meeting, people have to say, Aziz is third generation and he still feels Albanian. And this guy, I said, but when did your parent left? He said, when Josh Castrioti lost the war against the Turkish. This is the moment my parent left. Imagine 5, and he still feels Albanian.
Yeah. What do you think makes someone Albanian? Is it their blood? Is it their spirit? Is it a mixture? Like my daughter, she's half British,
think,
half Albanian. I have an Albanian passport. I know how to val. Am I Albanian?
No, I will say one thing. For me, what makes you Albanian is the mother, the way you are educated, the values.
Yes.
Family. The values, the fact that you speak the language, of course, it's better. But and the most of the Albanians don't speak real good Albanian because they are all outside the country.
Yeah.
You have 5 million in the, let's say, in the Balkan, approximately, and maybe 10 or 15 outside. The majority of the Albanian is their second language,
Yes.
and they feel Albanian, and they are saying they are Albanian. So it's a very bizarre concept. We are
Yeah.
very close to the Jewish concept, I think.
You know, I meet many people in the summer, you know, they come back from the diaspora. They're in the diaspora and they come back for their holidays with their children and their kids don't speak Albanian. And I think it's really sad. If you're living in the UK or Germany, like talk to your kids in Albanian at home. They'll learn English everywhere else, you know, or German or whatever.
But I think it's, you know, my Albanian was very, very bad until I decided to, I was 40, my Albanian side come back in one day. You know, when you are closer to death from your birth, you think that, okay, your real personality.
And you decided 40 is that
No,
point.
it was probably, no, it was, I think at the 40 I said, okay, in fact, I'm Albanian.
Yeah.
Because I'm born in Belgium, but I was living outside Belgium. I'm living in France. I was not French.
Your parents were in Turkey before Macedonia. Yugoslavia
Exactly.
doesn't exist anymore.
So this is the history of all the Albanian, probably. So what I was feeling is what I'm very woke, in fact. I feel Albanian. I am Albanian.
You identify as an Albanian.
Exactly.
Are your pronouns?
Of course, of course.
No, it's interesting because people often say to me, "Oh, you're Albanian now," and I'm like, well, I mean, I'd love to be, but no, I'm an Albanian citizen. I'm British, and I have the Albanian spirit.
Do you have an Albanian passport?
I do,
So you are Albanian.
but not with blood, apparently.
But the blood, we all have red blood.
Well, yes, exactly.
You know, the DNA is something. It remembers also a very old, how say, the period of you are good people or not with the Nazis. It was about your blood, your origins.
Yes.
If now we check the DNA, all the European, we have all the same DNA
Yeah,
approximately. It's just that the Albanian one is older. That's it.
Yeah.
We check the word. All in Europe, you have Albanian words that have been moved, transformed, and this, but influence for everybody. I think that what it makes the change, man. You know, the Chinese have the same language. The Arabic have the same language for the, let's say, both civilization. Why? Because they don't have alphabet, they have pictogram. They drawn something, a picture. And in Europe, the oldest DNA is in the north of Greece, Castoria. The oldest alphabet is in Castoria, I think. And it's the oldest one in the world, but nobody understands this. I think that our ancestors did the mistake to create an alphabet. I'm sure if they were still having like the Chinese or the Arabic pictures only, ideogram, probably all Europe will still speak the same language, which will be probably something close to the actual Albanian.
Have you seen the Elbasan script and the Vithkuchi script?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, these are two alphabets that were created specifically for the Albanian language. They're completely different from Latin letters, from Greek, from Arabic, from anything. They were designed especially for the Albanian language a couple of hundred years ago, and there were attempts to get them sort of used, but ultimately Latin was chosen as the alphabet of choice.
Talking to alphabet, it's very bizarre. The three alphabets that rules Europe are the Greek one, the Latin, and the Cyrillic. The Latin was created in Latium, actually very close to Roma. The Cyrillic in Ohrid, and the Greek, let's say, in Hatten. In this triangle, you have a people living there since 9,000 years. With the DNA and the history, I agree in this now. So all the characters are just to our border. Maybe this is...
Well, Albania is kind of in the middle of all that.
If you do this, if you draw this triangle, there are only one people living there since 9,000 years. It's the Albanian, thinking that this was the other people that created. Probably this alphabet was created to make the connection possible, to understand each other, or because they start to make business, to write the contract or the numbers. But I think it is the beginning of the alphabet. Is when you want to freeze something.
Interesting.
With somebody you don't speak the same language.
Yes.
So until there were no alphabet, probably they were speaking something, they were understanding each other.
Yeah,
like a common language.
Yeah.
And I think that all the historians are agreeing that until the year 0, probably everybody understood each other in Europe.
Yes. That's really interesting. Maybe they were all speaking Albanian to each other.
No, I don't speak an Albanian language, but we all talk about this Latin of kitchen, they call it in France.
Yes.
Nobody knows this language.
No.
But
it's a mystery.
When we see the word, let's say, manger in French, manger, and you see hunger, is exactly the same letter at the same place. One letter is disappearing because of the, how we say that?
I hadn't noticed that.
And you say, thanks God, I speak 5 languages. I speak Dutch and English and Turkish also.
I always get confused because verd in Albanian and verd in French, they're different, but they're almost the same word, but yellow and green, and it confuses.
This is false friend or misunderstanding, bad translation.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yashir, yellow, but it's green. It
No, but
confuses.
even you say I am in English. In Albanian we say yam. It's exactly the same letter.
Interesting.
It's not that. And in Armenian also you say yam. And the Greek you say ime, which sounds more like the Slavic language of Bulgar. But at the beginning, I think this tribe from Africa that traveled was speaking one language probably.
We're going to cause a lot of debates with this conversation in the comment section.
It's history, but it should be studied, but not in confrontation of the other.
And it's not about nationalism and
nationalism. If you say this is, let's say, all the European, if you say we are the older, we have a connection with everybody, we are all brothers and sisters anyway. The interesting point is to understand how it happened just for the pleasure of history, but knowing that the history is written by the winner, not the loser.
We have to be careful. Now, you were born and you spent your whole life in Belgium and then in France, 20 years in France, and then you came back to Albania. Tell me about that.
3 years ago,
Yes.
I decided to settle in Albania.
Why?
I think the end of COVID.
Yeah.
My wife wanted to grow. She's Albanian also from Shkodra.
Ah, wonderful city.
Fantastic, a very nice city, yes. And also a very nice spirit of Albania, Shkodra.
Yes, yeah.
And she wanted to live in Shkodra, but I said, okay, I'm ready to go back in Albania. But if you quit Paris, you have to have something more. And I say we stay on the coast.
Paris on sea.
Yes, exactly. And Dus is a very nice city.
Yes, it is. What do you like about it?
The people, the place, and the sea. So you having the sea, viewing the sea every day, it's something very quiet and very peaceful.
Spectacular sunsets as well.
And the other thing, the airport is very close.
Yes, yeah, it's convenient.
30 minutes, so I can minimum once a week I'm out of for a few days. So I'm traveling always. But the airport of Tirana is very good, well connected in your whole Europe.
Do you miss life in France at all? Sort of
I
full
swear
time?
not.
No.
I swear not. Regarding what I see in the news, I swear I'm happy that I left. No, life in Paris is not the same because it's just me becoming older also. I don't have the same needs. When I was younger, I want to have a party every night, and this now I'm
Every other night now.
now I can do things calmer, live
Yes.
calmer.
But like so many Albanian youth, they all want to go to France, to Germany, you know, and then you have people coming back and saying, actually, the life there is not always that
No,
great.
but exactly. That's why I say Albanians should be very happy. I think that Albania is the moment that it's better stay here and you will make more money than
Yeah.
if you go outside.
Yes.
Because if you stay here, you can do something with a long-term thinking.
And something no one else has done. Because it's at that moment where there's a lot of people coming from outside and there's a lot of things that don't exist here that do in other European countries. And it's better for someone Albanian to fill that gap than a foreign company to come and fill the gap for them.
The future is in Albania. For the Albanian, is in Albania, is in Kosovo, is in Montenegro. Wherever you have Albanian speaking, I'm not like the border, the big Albania. I hate this idea. It's ridiculous. Albania, we can travel everywhere now. But if you're from Kosovo, your future is in Kosovo.
Yeah.
If you're Albanian from Montenegro, go there, grow up the business. We have the right to speak our language everywhere now. It was, of course, in Albania, it was the case a long time ago, but in ex-Yugoslavia, it wasn't that easy. But you have the same right, so we can travel and we can come back home. It's very, I think the life of the next Albanian will be much happier than our parents.
Yes, I think so. I think those that stay anyway. What about life in France? What were the biggest challenges? You were a business person. You had multiple theatres that you were running. What did you find challenging about being in that business environment?
No, France is a fantastic country. This is the first one. Paris, France, it's a it gives you opportunity. You have everything. If you want to work, you can. Of course, I had a Belgian passport. It's much easier. I was feeling like home. But whatever you can do, they will always help you, especially in art. Even if you have no visa, you are an artist, they will give you a visa. So France have a fantastic view about art. It's really a city that leads the world about art.
Yes, of course.
Paris is fantastic. And if you're a good worker, you can make it. It's like New York the same, London the same. If you work hard, you can make it there. Because this is a city, that's why I say Parisian, not French. Because there are so many foreigners in Paris. And this is...
Like London.
Bizarrely, this is what in these cities that their far right is very low also. Because we know the foreigners, we know they are not a danger for the civilization. They are something strong. They come to work to make the country richer.
But what about challenges? My friend, he was a journalist, living and working in Paris. He said never travel or try to do anything on a Thursday because everyone strikes.
No, but the strike is how we say this is a
National
French
sport.
It's a national sport. It's a French barbecue. You know, it's very nice. You have a barbecue. You can join them if you don't know them. You just raise your left hand. You say, "Hey guys, I'm with you. You're gonna have an hamburger. It's more social event, I think.
Yes.
Because you know the rights of the workers in France are very good. But I think you want in your life to fight for something always. But you don't know what to fight for, so you decide to organize barbecue and friends and say, "Oh, life should be better." But I think the French have the best life probably in the world.
Yeah. But you know, I see that spirit of fighting dying a bit in Albania. I remember when I came here, you know, and there was protests every week. There was always something, not just political, but for lots of different things, you know, and I used to go and photograph them and stuff. Now it doesn't really happen so much anymore. And a lot of those activists have left the country, and everyone, they like to complain about how things are.
I think it's human.
They don't. I'm like, go and protest. Go, you know, I'm an anarchist deep down inside. You know, go and protest. Take some inspiration from the French.
No, but the French, you know, they in fact, they don't confuse the young who destroy a lot of things in the protest, and the people who just want to protest because they are not happy.
Yeah.
It gives a meaning to the life if you protest. If you know, you have to have a goal in your life to do something. You want to make the things better. It's very nice. Better for you, for the other, but when you wake up in the morning, you say, "I'm going to do this." It's fantastic. If you have no goal, you die anyway.
Yes.
But protesting in France, you know, it's a national sport, and it makes the things better for the whole world. Look, the gay pride, for example. It started the summer gay pride, the summer day, the 21st June. the Day of the Music. So it started in France, and now they have everywhere in the world.
Even Tirana.
Exactly. Paris plage. They create the beach on. It is always good for the people of the city.
Yeah, yeah.
This idea mostly come from France. You know, France is in the world is a small city,
Yes.
like 10 million people, but regarding 7 billion, but it gives a little bit light to everyone.
Is there much of an Albanian community in Paris? Is
No,
there like an Albanian quarter or something?
No, thanks God, I'm one of the representatives of the Albanian community, the business community. But in fact, in France, we don't have a lot of Albanian. You have much more in France, in Switzerland, or Germany, or England. I don't know why, but in France, they're not that much. Probably for political reason, they choose to go to leftist country, probably France.
Yeah. I thought there might be more there. One of my favorite things to do when I go to a new city is to find places that are owned by Albanians so I can get good coffee.
No, yes, probably yes. The coffee is better in the Albanian. No, in Paris, I think you have like one or two. I know 2 coffee owned by Albanian, 1 restaurant.
That's all you need, really.
Exactly. If you know one, it's enough. and now I have with my mekunatet in Albanian, with my brothers-in-law. We have 2 hotels in the very center of Paris, near Opera. So the Grand Hotel Lafayette. And so it's becoming a headquarter of Albanian. We organize there every 28th of months
Of course.
a meeting of Albanian. This is easy for any Albanian to remember. Every 28th, we meet in this place. And I think that all the Albanians should do this.
Yeah.
To have a place in a city that any 28, you can have, like, the Rotary Club does. And they have a day that you can meet them. So you can save time if you want to have contact with Albanian in the city.
Yes, it makes sense, especially for business. And
You know,
things like
the
this.
Jewish, they have the synagogue where they meet. The Catholic, they have the church. The Muslim, they have the mosque. The Albanian,
Have a good coffee shop?
we have to create a headquarter where
of
we can
course.
meet together.
Yes.
And I set this idea every month on the 28th until 11 o'clock. So it makes 28 to 11. So it's very easy to remember to everybody. I said, we started in Paris 2 months ago, and I hope it's going to work. It looks like, because I had already contacts for this month. And the idea, if we can organize everywhere in the world, in any city, it will be huge. So if I go, let's say, in London, and I know there is a bar, you can go there, you can meet Albanian, business Albanian, or any other Albanian, to save time, to have the contacts.
Yeah, to network and
To create a network is the idea.
I used to live in Malta, and there was this Italian restaurant in my house that I used to go to all the time, and I really liked it, and they were from Italy. And then I came to live in Albania, and I went back to that town that I used to live in, and I went to the same restaurant, and I realized that they were in fact Albanian, because by then I'd picked up some words in Albanian, and I heard them in the kitchen, and I was like, I'm onto you. I was like, Shqiptar, busted. They'd been caught out,
No, we are everywhere.
Yes.
But nobody knows, because we have the chance to be European, and so we can say we are anything else.
I want to talk about Banksy.
The famous one,
The famous Banksy. Just viewers may not all know who Banksy is. Well, no one knows who Banksy is, but Banksy is a very, very famous anonymous street artist who is believed to have come from Bristol in the UK. That's where I studied. At the end of my street, there was one of his beautiful stenciled murals on the wall. He's known for creating stenciled work, mainly, that would pop up overnight in cities, mainly Bristol and other places in the UK, all with a political or a social sort of message behind them. His work is super, super famous. How did you get involved with having Banksy museums? Start at the beginning.
So this is, when we talk about Banksy, sometimes I will have to lie, but not that much.
Who is
so
he?
Who is he? Oh, if I knew. The point with Banksy, it's very interesting. This artist is very, very talented.
Yeah.
He's the most quoted artist probably in the world living. And, it was in 2018, I met some guys that I trust them very well. And I'm a show producer in Paris, so I have all the contact everywhere in the world. And they said, Aziz, in Paris, we want to do something with Banksy, and we would like to work with you because we know you were good and this. And I'm also, I told you, a director, I direct plays also. And I said, okay, if we do something about Banksy, usually like a normal gallery is not respecting his spirit. And what I said to the guys, they said, we're going to recreate all his artwork instead of hanging frames. It might sound stupid and risky, and it was, but all the comments after of the specialists, it was the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's denouncing this framing of the art and the gallery and this.
It goes against his spirit, doesn't it?
And so what I've done is I took a parking, completely destroyed, and I make it not completely new, but to look better. And you recreate the street inside. So you can have the artworks as the real size, and they are gathered by cities and places where they have been drawn, or how say, sprayed. And of course, you understand the meaning of the artwork when you see when it had been done. I have recreated in Paris the wall of Bethlehem.
Wow.
Which is, of course, you have a lot of problems now. I don't even know if the wall still exists. And I have recreated the hotel Banksy. Banksy has an hotel in Bethlehem. I have recreated an hotel with 30 rooms in Paris. Everything is decorated in its own, as in a Banksy way. And when you are inside the hotel, the view is on a wall, like you have the same view in Bethlehem.
It's amazing.
So I went until I think you can do more, but it's difficult.
How many Banksy museums do you have?
8, I think.
8.
No, but no, because just one is open in Amsterdam. But I have sometimes I create the museum, but it's not mine, and so I have like 8 exhibitions running for the moment.
Wow, and which cities? Amsterdam, Paris.
I'll say Amsterdam, Paris, Brussels, Cracovie, Barcelona, Madrid, Lisbon, and New York.
Wow. Are we going to have Tirana added to the list?
I'm really happy. It's been years that I say Tirana should have an exhibition like this, and I'm ready to do it for without benefit because it's my country.
Yes, yeah.
I want that the people who come in Albania, they can say, damn, they have a museum Banksy and I don't have it in my city.
Yeah, because, I mean, Banksy has nothing to do with Albanian culture, but it's Banksy is someone who would bring tourists, you know?
I don't think so.
It's not bring tourists, but tourists, when they're here, would love to see, love
probably,
to visit.
Yes. We have a lot of tourists coming. No, it's an interesting point to have it in Albania also. Like
yeah, why not? You know, it's
Albania is becoming a huge city. How many millions now? 2 million? 2 million?
Oh, yeah, between 1 and 2. I mean,
it's as big as Brussels.
Yeah. It's huge. I mean,
and full of Albanian, which is much more interesting.
Well, lots and lots of tourists at the moment. You know, you walk through the centre and it's just so many different languages. I got caught up in a tour of about 50 Japanese people the other day. You know, I couldn't find my way out, and they were all sort of looking up at me like this, like taking pictures because I'm, you know,
a little
giant.
Bit tall.
A little bit tall. Yeah, they're like, oh,
taller than me.
So. To have such a museum in Tirana, what sort of space would you be looking for? What sort of concept?
I need just a rough place, you know, like a parking, old building, something. 1,500 square meter will be perfect. If I have less, it's okay. Let's say in Amsterdam, I have 1,000 only. We did it.
But you know, there's so many old, cool buildings from the communist era, like military warehouses and
I would
stuff.
love to have the place
That
like
would
this.
be so. You know, you go if you've taken the cable car to Daiti before. Yes. Where they have one of the bunkart places just outside of Tirana, there's like old warehouses above it. And that would be the perfect place.
Probably.
But you'd have to talk to the Prime Minister.
If you have his number, call him.
Eddie, if you're watching.
No, and we have the chance to have a minister who loves arts.
Yeah.
Imagine what a nice country.
Yeah, it would be, you know, of course it's important to use spaces for Albanian art and Albanian culture, but there's no reason why you can't have, you know, other artists as well.
I told it several times. I'm ready to manage it and to organize it. I just need the place to make it possible, which is mostly the most important.
What about theatre? Do you have any ideas to open theatres here? What's missing from Albania's cultural scene in your experience? What needs to be improved?
For me, you know, I produce comedies mostly. So I know that people go to the theatre to laugh, not to cry mostly. And I think what is missing probably, and I had, you know, in Belgium, I had one cabaret in Brussels, one in Liège, and one in Charleroi. In Belgium, French-speaking people are 4.5 million. This is the same number.
Yes.
So maybe we can organize to have one in Tirana, one in Pristina, and one in Skopje. And so the interesting point is you can make work the artist. The fact that you make money is one point, maybe. But if you have help of a government or something, they say, okay, organize this. You're going to have the Albanian-speaking artists can work everywhere. And you can make them work 1 month in Pristina, 1 month in Kosovo, 1 month in Skopje, and 1 month in Tirana. normally, if they are paid every day, it's enough for the whole year, as I know the artist.
Yes, because I was thinking now, you're saying, I have all these theatres, or I've had, 20 or something. In Tirana, there's 2 theatres, I think. 1, 2.
No,
Well,
but-
there's the Opera and Ballet Theatre, Turbina, the new one that's being built, but these are all related to the state, if I'm not
No,
wrong.
but the problem is this is theater for the how we say that the patrimony theater, But the culture of a country are the people who tell jokes.
Yeah.
Voltaire, Molière, for
Yes.
example, or Voltaire, they were funny guys, they play mostly. And we always think that it should be something very heavy and sad and this. But this is the view of now with the text of a long time, of old text. But the culture of a country is what's happening everywhere and every day. So I think that the best place to have artists living is to have a cabaret where they can put stand-up comedy bars.
Yeah, this would be...
No, that's what I had in my life. I had 3 with my brothers, and it worked very much. In Belgium, it's a small country, 4 or 5 million, the same numbers than Albanian.
But I love this idea of stand-up comedy, but I find Albanians do take themselves quite seriously. And I maybe it's a cultural thing, maybe they'd be a bit hesitant to put themselves at risk of being judged like that. You see videos of people, they go to stand-up comedy nights and they completely bomb, and everyone's just like...
No, but you don't know that.
I think there's a fear of that.
No, I think the fear is that how you're going to manage all these artists. This is the biggest problem. Because even if an artist is not good, it's not a big problem. He's going to evaluate probably. He's
Yes.
going to learn. This is you're going to have a guy of 20 years, he's going to start, and he will be 40, maybe he will be perfect. But no, this is something it might be done in Albania. But I have this knowledge. I
Yes.
don't use it for the moment.
No. What would you say to other entrepreneurs in the diaspora who are thinking, should I come back? Do I risk it? Blah, blah, blah. What would you say to them? And what advice would you give them?
I will say one thing. I will say, guy, manage your life as you want. Think to your family and to your life first. Now, I would say to the leaders of the country, of any Albanian country, we have 15 million Albanian outside that they have studies, they have knowledge, and they have money probably. If you want to bring them back, it's easy. Give them a tax shelter, 0 tax. Italy does that. Portugal does that. Give them a tax shelter. They will say, the whole life you will not pay taxes anymore. And if these Albanians come back in the country, I think that very easily, if you take 5 Albanians having a coffee, after 1 hour you have minimum 2 businesses open.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't need to ask them to invest. They will do it by themselves if you just protect them with
Yeah.
a tax shelter. You
Give
say,
them
guy,
the help they need.
and the tax they will avoid to pay in the other country, they will be invested in Albania. It will
Yes.
be a cashback, very clever.
Yeah. It's a good idea. And also another question, you've been back here 3 years, but I assume you'd been back here a few more times before that. How have you seen Albania change over the last decade, for example? Is it like day and night, or... Because if you ask some Albanians, they say, we're still living like the 90s, it's
Because
terrible.
this is the young saying that because they were not born in the 90s. That's why, I don't know. The past of Albania is amazing. It's amazing. When I come back, my brother and I, he visited Albania in 2007, and he asked me, is this still the same? I say, Ali, you cannot imagine how it changed. It's safer to be in Albania than in Paris.
Of course it is, yeah.
It is much safer.
Yes.
The food is fantastic. All the people I know that they visited Albania, they said the food is huge. What do you need more? Security, you have very good food.
Good weather.
The weather is fantastic. It's not good, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Knowing that I lived in Belgium and Paris.
I know.
So what do you want more?
Once I was traveling from Albania to Brussels, Charleroi, the worst airport in Europe, on my British passport. And when I got there, they pulled me over for immigration. They wanted to see my return ticket, where I was staying, proof of work. And I was like, look, no offense, but if I was seeking asylum, it would not be in Belgium. The weather is terrible. The food is not good. And for me, the safety, I'm still in Albania mode when I go there, and I'll go to, if I go for drinks with friends after work, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk back to the hotel now. They're like, you shouldn't walk late at night alone, especially if you've got your laptop in your bag or something, It's not safe. It's not a safe place.
No, Paris, Belgium. But it's complicated. It's not safe because it's. It might seem it's more than political. For political reason, it's not safe.
Yeah.
If they solve this problem, about what will we complain in Europe after this? We have to complain about something.
No, but for me, the reasons you mentioned Albania, the safety, the personal security, the great weather and the great food. I mean, this is...
But look, you have a lot of non-Albanian. You are they love Albania very much.
Yeah.
But we have a problem. We the Albanian, we are like, I think we are like everybody. We think that the grass is better always. But
Yes.
I can tell you, I lived in Belgium. I visit all the cities of the world, probably. Not all, but a lot of. I can tell you, Albania is not a bad choice.
No, it's not. That's why my mum's living here. Before I got my passport and I'd go and take my residence permit from immigration, and they'd be like, you're not here for family reasons, like you're not married. I wasn't at the time. No, you're not married, but you're not here for work either. But you're here out of choice. And I'm like, yes. And they're like, they go and discuss. So we all want to go to the UK and you're paying to stay here out of choice. Yes. Okay. Right. And they're very confused by this. It's different now because there are so many more foreigners coming to live here.
No, but I think the how we say the fact that Albanians are leaving the country is gonna be less and less.
Yeah.
Logically, they're gonna start to come back.
Yeah.
You even see the lek and the euro. I'm here since 3 years approximately. It has changed like 20% the value, 20-30%. You can talk hours and hours. This is the market, the price of the market. Albania is 20% better than 3 years ago.
I saw a statistic as well this week. There was 1 in 5 property sales in Albania is involving a foreign person. 1 in 5. That's quite high.
That's why high. Yes.
It's really high, actually.
It's very much good.
1 in 5.
Maybe it means all the Albanian owns already an apartment or a house.
Yeah, I was wondering how many of those foreigners are actually Albanians.
And this is the other problem. How many? Because
I don't want to get blamed for destroying the housing market.
The guy is Belgian, but he's Albanian origin. How many Albanian I know that they don't have an Albanian passport?
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a tower block behind my house, not a tower block, an apartment block. And while it was still just concrete on the ground and a big hole, they'd sold all of the units, and most of them were to Albanians from the diaspora who were buying 1, 2, 3 apartments in one go to rent.
Yes.
To foreigners, Airbnb, like this, so they're buying in bulk.
My daughter, for example, they are Belgian. They have no Albanian passport. If they come, they will probably one day come back because they are always saying we are Albanian. They don't speak Albanian also. They don't want to, but we will learn. One day probably they will come here. Of course, they will buy a house or an apartment, something. And it will be counted as foreigners, but in fact, they're from the country.
Yes, but tell them not to leave the learning Albanian too late because I'm 38 and I find it so hard. And I'll learn a new word or phrase or something, and then the next morning, poof, it's gone.
No, but they don't
learn early.
Yeah, no, but they don't speak Albanian because they don't want, but they hear Albanian always.
Yes.
So if they just they have to start. That's it.
Yes. Don't leave it too late because the older you get, the harder it is. My mum's 81. She knows just përshëndetje, faleminderit, pot, and that's it. And ni cafe. I mean, what more do you need?
Nothing more. I used when I go to foreign countries, I used to learn how to say, "Hi, how are you?" Mirditesini. In the language of the country. When you start a meeting, talking to the person in his language, they are happy. They say, this guy is friendly.
Yeah.
He knows some few words from us. We don't know from his language. And you are already in a good position to negotiate anything.
Yes. And I found Albanians are so tolerant of people making mistakes in Albanian or just even trying, not like the French,
No, but the French is the French. The problem of the French, the language is so complicated. And French used to be the English of the last century. Everybody used to speak
it was
English.
The aristocratic language. I saw a post on Facebook the other day. I'm in all these expat foreigner tourism groups about Albania, and there's this one post, and I swear I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They were like, "What language do they speak in Saranda? Is it Sarandian?" And I was like, have you got confused with Sardinia, whether you speak Sardinian? Do you think you're going to an Italian island or Sarandian? And then I commented, and this whole discussion opened up about whether they speak Greek and the Greek minority and blah, blah, blah. But Sarandian, apparently, I don't know where these people come from. Aziz, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for hosting me.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's all for this week. You can watch Inside Albania every Saturday at 4 o'clock on Euronews Albania, on our YouTube channel, Euronews Albania, or across all major podcasting platforms. Until next time, Mira Pavshim.